Hi everybody, I'm Patty Rivera with Livy Weekly Homes at Lake Meadow Landing, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our new incentives, which we have $10,000 flex cash money on top of the typical $5,000 source closing costs. So what does that mean for you? That means that you're able to do several things. You can use the money to look in your rate and have an extended rate lock. You can use that money to buy down points and get the interest rate a little bit lower on your new home. Or you can use a combination of that, and if you have anything left over, use it towards additional closing costs. So I'm here with my friend Matt Andre, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about how this program works and the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the buy down points and what does that mean and how does it work?
Sure. So David Weekly Homes is offering this super awesome incentive. There's always been an incentive when a buyer finances with us of $5,000 towards closing costs. They're now offering an additional $10,000 for a total of $15,000, which is super, super awesome. So,
fantastic.
Yeah. So what do you do with that money, right? That's the question we get. The most popular three things that you can utilize that money towards is a permanent rate buy down, interest rate buy down, a temporary rate buy down, and or an extended interest rate lock. So let's talk about what those are and what that means. So the most popular thing is a permanent interest rate buy down. So let's use an example. Let's say somebody's buying a house today and interest rates, 30-year fixed rates are 5.5%. Don't hold me to that exactly, but we're using an example. So 5.5%. You can pay, and this has been like this forever, with any loan, you can pay a fee at closing called a discount point that is a percentage of the loan amount in order to buy yourself essentially a lower interest rate for the life of the loan. So in our example of 5.5% today, you could bring a fee to closing of approximately 1% of the loan amount. So if you're buying a home for in the mid 400s and your loan amount is in the low 400s, your 1% of the loan amount is around $4,000 to $4,500. So you pay 1% of the loan amount. That typically will get you an interest rate forever of 5.25% instead of 5.5%. So it saves you money on your monthly payment, saves you money in interest over the life of the loan. That's the most popular type. And how much that you pay at closing determines how much lower your interest rate is going to be. So you can pay 2% of the loan amount, and that might get your interest rate down to 5%, but you're using $8,000 or $9,000 of the $10,000 incentive as well. But so the more you pay at closing, the more you buy the rate down.
The more points you can buy.
Yeah,
basically.
the more.
So is there a cap on how many points a person can buy based on how much they want to spend?
No, I mean you can pay as many points as you want. However, it usually gets to where it starts to not make a whole lot of sense more than about 2%, 2 points, because you don't get as much bang for your buck. You may pay another percent of the loan amount, and it might only get your interest rate down a little bit, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do. So we'll talk to you about all these options, by the way, and figure out what's best for you and your family and your goals and needs for this home, and what works best for you. So that's the permanent rate buy down. So that's probably the most popular option. Again, your interest rate is bought down lower than the market rate forever for all 30 years of your loan.
So it's a fixed rate. There's no changing. No matter what happens, that's what it's going to be for the life of the loan.
Yep, and because you had this incentive money from David Weekly Homes, you get a lower rate than all your friends and family that are closing at the same time. So that's pretty cool. Another option is what's called a temporary interest rate buy down. So temporary rate buy down is instead of buying the rate down permanently forever, the rate is bought down more, but it's only bought down for the first couple years. So what we typically see is what's called a 2-1 buy down. 2-1 buy down is you pay it's about 2% of the loan amount. The interest rate for the first year, the first 12 payments, is 2% below the actual note rate on the mortgage. So again, let's say our example, interest rate is 5.5%. Your first 12 payments would be based on an interest rate of 3.5%. In year 2, it goes to 4.5%. And then starting on year 3, through the remaining life of the loan, you're at the 5.5%. So
that's a wonderful way to kind of ease into payments and not start so high.
Yeah.
If you have a monthly payment set up in your mind, I don't want to be any more than $2,500. This is a way great to get it.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of folks are on the fence about purchasing because they're not sure they can handle the payment, right? So this is a great way to ease into that payment over the first 3 years. And a lot of times too, we see a lot of younger buyers do this. If they're starting out in their career, they're expecting their income to grow over the next few years. it's a great way to ease into that payment. And as your payment's going to grow over the first 3 years, but so is your income to compensate for that. So we've got the permanent rate buy down. We've got the temporary rate buy down. Another thing that we're seeing a lot of right now is what's called an extended interest rate lock. And there's a cost to that in most cases. And you can use this flex money from David Weekley Homes, this additional incentive for the extended interest rate lock if you would like as well. So one of the risks with buying a new home is typically, and this is historically nothing new, you don't lock your interest rate until you get closer to closing. So it may take a couple months to build the house, but a lot of times if we're not within 30 to 60 days of closing, the interest rate is not locked in. It still moves with the market rate.
Right. So right now we have some homes under construction that are available for sale, and they're about 3 to 4 months until completion.
Yep.
So that would be an excellent way
Absolutely.
to lock in the rate.
Yes.
3 to 4 months before.
So with most, this is my 18th year doing this, and with most lenders, and as long as I've been in the business, you typically can't lock your interest rate for more than 60 days. That may not be enough time because your house isn't going to be done within 60 days. What's nice about this extended rate lock is we can lock in the interest rate for up to a year, which is unheard of. These are
fantastic.
These are great programs. So if you're somebody that's concerned about buying, worried about what interest rates are going to do, and I don't want to buy a new home because I don't know what my interest rate's going to be when the home's completed, we basically mitigate that risk with the extended interest rate lock program. So there's a cost to do it. It's typically sometimes there's no cost at all. So the cost is between 0 and 1.5% of the loan amount, and a lot of times that fee is refundable at closing, assuming you close with us within that lock period. So what's cool is you may be able to do the extended interest rate lock. Let's say worst case scenario, you're paying 1.5% of your loan amount. That's only half the flex money that you were offered. The additional $10,000. So you can use the other portion of $10,000 to buy the rate down. Yeah, so you can get a rate buy down and an extended interest rate lock.
That's fantastic.
That's at $10,000 will get you a lot. So anyway, those are kind of the options that we would typically educate people on, and what works best for them is up to them.
And another question, in general, right now we're in a little bit of different times, and interest rates have been going up typically, even though they're still low, and a lot of people don't believe that.
Sure, yeah.
But they're still a little bit lower than previous years. Everybody thinks that the rates change dramatically on a daily basis. So what is your answer to that?
Yeah, so interest rates, it's the three hottest topics in our business right now are interest rates, and interest rates. So yes, interest rates have gone up quite a bit in the past 6 months, but they have really leveled off over the past couple months. There was a big jump earlier this year, and things have really kind of leveled off. So if you watch the news, you see that the Federal Reserve do at the rate. Well, there's already indications of what the Fed's probably going to do over the next few months. And those have already been priced into long-term mortgage rates. So don't think that every time the Fed raises the rate, mortgage rates are going to move with it, because it's already been factored in. That's why long-term mortgage rates jumped so much earlier this year, because it was already priced in that the Fed was going to do this over the coming months. So the dust has settled a little bit. It shot up really fast. Everybody was freaking out. But like Patty just said, rates are still historically low. They're still very attractive. Payments are still affordable. And the dust has really settled over the past couple weeks and month. Today's June 28th. Rates are lower today than they were a month ago. So they're kind of, again, I've been doing this a long time. When rates spike up, they kind of tend to slide back down a little bit. I'm not saying rates are going to go back.
I'm going to go back to 2%, but they're still low.
But yeah, they really kind of leveled off over the past few weeks, which is great. So yeah.
So basically, right now there's stability in the market when it comes to rates and purchasing a new home. So
volatility is a fear of everyone's, right?
Yes.
And that's why the stock market, the bond market, interest rates all kind of went haywire earlier this year, is because there was a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty. We're kind of starting to get our arms around some of this stuff now, and kind of wrangling it in to where it's becoming more stable.
So yes, everything's getting stable. Everything is settling in. This is what we're going to see. So for those of you that are hoping that somehow the market is going to crash, it's not going to crash. It's going to stay the same. We're just going to see things maybe moving a little bit slower than in previous years. So
yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we were getting some questions from some people right now asking us, "Hey, are you guys going to keep lending?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course we're going to keep lending."
Yes,
so
we're going to keep
there's
selling homes and building homes.
People aren't going to stop buying homes. People aren't going to stop moving to Florida. This is still a very attractive place to live, and yeah, the dust just needed to settle a little bit. I think it's settling as we're speaking now, and people are going to start getting back to normal. The reality is, home prices were increasing 20% per year. That's not realistic. It's not sustainable. It's not supposed to be like that, right? So something needed to happen to jolt the housing market, and that's what's happening right now. Kind of dial it back in. It's unfortunately it's a necessary evil, and yeah, I think we're going to get back to normal ups and downs and steady price appreciation instead of these crazy peaks that we were seeing over the past few years, which again are not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you for that for the wonderful explanation about rates and buy down points and all of that. And as you guys know, we have $10,000 flex cash money. So use it wisely. Call me if you have any questions, and let us help you get through your new home.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.